Hope you guys had a good weekend. We're able to get outside and do something fun. We only have 2 sessions before spring break, so that's good. So I want to go over a couple things before we get started with 10.4. So I have a few people that did not do the quizzes, okay? So if, I should have emailed you another link to get that done, but make sure you've gone in and done that 10.1 quizzes, okay? I think everybody on this call has pretty much done it, but I'll be reaching out to you about that. And then also your 10.2 homework, make sure you ask those questions now, and then make sure you send me a picture of it today at some point, okay, if you have not done it already. I know a lot of you guys have already done that, so I appreciate that. Thank you. Okay, let's go ahead and get started. I'm going to write down the questions first, because when I share my screen, I struggle seeing the chat. So I'm going to go ahead and write down the questions that you have right now. Okay, let's go over, let's talk about the homework questions. What homework questions do you have from 10.2?
Number 1.
Number 1.
Is there any way that you could just like go through 3 through 10?
Yeah.
Just so I can like check it.
Yeah, sure. Okay. I don't think there weren't that many problems on there, were there? I don't think so.
No, I have a specific question about 8, but I could have just like interpreted the notes wrong.
Okay.
So
okay, so for Gabe asked to go about the difference between a major and minor. So I'm going to pull up my notes here. Hold on, let me share my screen first.
I know how you find the values. I'm just curious about how you decide which one.
Yeah, so let's go. Let me share my screen. So a minor arc, can you guys see that?
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so a minor arc, you should always too, a minor arc is named by 2 letters here with a little arc over there. So that's the notation. So when you only 2 letters for minor and then 3 letters for major. So a minor arc is going to be less than 180 degrees. Okay. And then a major arc is going to be greater than 180 degrees. And then a semicircle is exactly 180. And you do label, like you notate a semicircle with 3 letters as well, like you do a major arc. Okay. So minor is less than 180, major is greater, and then semicircles are equal to 180. Okay. All right, so let's go over the homework. So number 1, it says copy and complete. If angle ACB and angle DCE are congruent, central angles, so a central angle meaning that, so if you look over here at this picture, the vertex of the angle is the center of the circle, so that is a central angle. Then arc AB and arc DE would also be. If you have a central angle, the central angle and the arc are the same measure. So if the angles are congruent, then the arcs will also be congruent if it's a central angle. Okay, so I hope that helped, Annie. All right, so 3 through 10. So here are the answers 3 through 10. So if you want to check them, so Sandra said number 8. Number 8.
Never mind. I got it.
You got it? Okay. So are there any specific questions about
19?
10? I can't see my chat, so you're just going to have to kind of yell it out.
Number 19?
On 3 through 10 for right now. Does everybody understand 3 through 10 in those measures?
Yeah.
Okay, so all of those were central. Okay, so let's go. You said number 19? So here are the answers. We'll just go through the answers. So here are the answers, 12, 13, and 14. So no, yes.
We can't see them, Miss Wichard.
Let me stop. And let me reshare. What were you seeing? Nothing, my face?
We're seeing the other notes.
Yeah, the notes.
Yeah, we were seeing the notes. We didn't see anything.
Okay. Can you see it now?
Yeah.
Yes.
Okay, sorry about that. I wonder why if I flip it. Oh, well. So those are the answers for number 1, and then 3 through 10. Are there any questions on 3 through 10 specifically while you see it? Okay, so I'm going to move my page. Did your page move? Can you guys are now seeing 12, 13, and 14?
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Yep.
I guess as if I go from PDF to my thing, it doesn't see it. But the answers for 12, 13, and 14. And then,
How come number 13 aren't congruent?
okay, so from your notes, there's a theorem about congruence. And so you can have, so if you look at the little circle and the big circle, in order for two arcs to be congruent, they have to either come from the same circle with the same measure. So they have to have the same measure, but they also have to come from congruent circles. So if you look here, even though this central is shared in the small circle and the big circle, yes, they have the same measure, but it has to be and come from congruent circles. These two circles are not congruent because they have different radii. As you can see, here's for the small one, and then here would be the radius for the big. So the answer would be no, because the circles are not congruent. Where if you look at 14, they both have a measure of 92, so the arcs would be 92, and they also come from congruent circles. Because this radius is 8, and here they told you the diameter is 16, so the radius will also be 8. So these two circles are congruent. Whereas number 15, the two circles are not congruent. They have different radii. So it's an and statement. It has to fit both criteria. Congruent circles and have the same measure. Okay. All right, number 19. So number 19 was kind of fun. Or here. So if you look at the first scenario, it was probably the scenario that most of you guys did, this one right here. So here, given the information that you're given at the top, here is one way that your circle could have looked. It says, find two possible values for the measure of arc AE. So here, arc AE, I would 60 and 25, which is 85. And then add 70, and then add 20. So one possible measure for arc would be 175 if you add all those up. Okay. But then another way, so this would be 175 for one possible measure.
Miss Richard?
I kind of overlap. Some of the arcs are over. In the first scenario, so here's scenario 1, here's scenario 2. In scenario 2, I kind of overlapped some of the arcs. Okay, so I did AB is 60, A to B, that adds to 60. And then BC, as you can see, extending it like I did in the first scenario, I actually went backwards and made that 25. Do you guys see that? So my arcs here are overlapping. So that was another way of doing it. And then here, arc AE is only 15 degrees. So I would try to maybe go back on your notes and recreate that by overlapping your arcs and angles in there. Because even though it says arc BC, it's still call this arc BC, even though C would be going clockwise. So if you want to maybe try not to like take a snapshot and draw it straight from my notes. You can do it on your paper. It'll make more sense if you draw the circle and start overlapping your arc. First one should have been definitely the first one you should have gotten, where none of the arcs overlap. Does that help? Can everybody see that? Can you see that? Okay, I think that was the last one for that. Any other questions? All right, Alex, you have a question?
So for 19, you drawed it by subtracting the measures of the angles from 360, right?
Yeah, because there's 360 degrees in the full circle. And so, you know, half the circle is 180. And then I just use this information up here in the problem. So this one to create a circle.
Okay.
And then, like I said, the second example here, the second option is me overlapping. So like I said here, AB is C, but then I went backwards back into that arc to get arc BC, that's 25. So these are overlapping.
Okay.
Okay. So go back through those. I'm going to stop sharing. Okay. Any other questions from 10.2 notes that were posted online? So if you didn't have a chance to go back and look at those, I worked out all the problems. Are there any questions from the specific notes that I posted online from 10.2?
Yes, I do.
Okay, which one?
It's exercise 39 and 40 on the notes.
Okay. Okay, hold on, let me go back. Let me share my screen really quick. Can you guys see that?
Yes.
Okay. So here, this is covering just the dotted line part, not including that 5-degree part here and over here.
Oh.
So 5 to 10, subtract that from 180 because that's a full semicircle, you get 170.
So I understood that, but how would you get the seconds?
Okay, so up here, moves through the covered area at a rate of 5 degrees per second. So I'm trying to figure out how many seconds. So I divide 5 into 170.
Oh.
And then you get 34 seconds.
Oh, that's simple.
Ms. Witcher,
Yes.
I have a question for congruent circles. All circles are blank, but not all circles are blank.
All circles are similar, but not all circles are congruent.
Okay.
Yeah. So all circles are similar because the only measure, remember, similar is meaning the ratio of the radii, and it's always going to be the same because they only have one measure that we really look at, so which is the radius. When you talk about, you know, because radius includes circumference and all that. So all circles are similar, but they're not always congruent.
Mm-hmm.
And two circles are congruent circles if they have radius.
Wait, my notes were different. Can I take some screenshots?
My filled-in notes are posted on the Walker web under Chapter 10.
Oh, okay. I'll find that now.
Yeah, I posted an announcement, I think on Friday, that I had posted them. So make sure you're checking your email and stuff because I posted that I did. Any other questions from the notes? Any homework problems or the problems that were within the notes? All right, let me stop sharing that. All right, guys, so once this meeting is over, which it looks like maybe it is, if we have no more questions on 10.2, we all good? You put on, you know, separate page all your work, not just the answer, and you send me a picture of that. Like I said, a lot of people from this class have already done that. So make sure you finish it up, make sure I can read it, you don't have to put your name on it, obviously, email, and I will give you those 8 points in the grade book, okay? So, and then your objective between now and Wednesday is to get 10 points homework as well, and be ready to take that because on Wednesday I will be sending you a form that covers 10.1, 10.2, and 10.4. Okay, yeah. But won't be due until actually on Thursday, so I'll give you some time. Okay. but that'll cover the questions we've been doing online. So any questions you have from 10.2 and 10.4, make sure you come prepared Wednesday's Zoom session to talk about those. You're really ready to take that Google form. Okay. All right, guys. I think that's all I have today. But like I said, make sure you're checking the announcements every morning that you have my class and making sure you're checking all the boxes and doing all that stuff. And if you have any other questions about it too, just email me and I can answer whatever you got. Okay.
Okay.
All right, guys. Have a great
Thank you, Miss Richard.
Bye, guys.
Thank you.
Thanks, Miss Richard.
Bye.